Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Stefan, and in this video I'm going to show you how to play Kabalevsky's Opus 39 number 12. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and make sure to check the notifications bell to never miss a new video. Also, I now offer online piano lessons. If you're looking for one, there's going to be information in the description below. Just a couple of words about the book. Kabalevsky's Opus 39 is a great little collection of technical character pieces that are suitable for beginners from like pre-level to grade 1, grade 2, so very good beginner pieces, and each piece addresses a different technical challenge in a little character study, so it not just improves your technique but also your style and expression. In this video we're going to learn number 12. First I'm going to demonstrate it, and then I'm going to talk you through the difficulties and what to watch out for. So as you could hear, the piece was very kind of playful all the way through and very staccato, happy sounding. But what you could also notice is that it's basically repeating one pattern all the way through. So we've got a pattern of one bar, and then it repeats higher and lower. So it's basically a sequence. That makes it very easy to memorize the rhythm and the notes, but it also makes it very difficult to play it evenly all the way to the end. So it says vivo in my edition, which means lively, fast, and the time signature is 2/4, so 2 crotchets in every bar, and we don't have any key signature, so it's in the key of C major, no sharps and no flats. Now, there's no reason here to go hands separately, because as you could hear, the two hands kind of create one melody working together. But let's have a look at the very first bar. If we understand the first bar, then we're going to understand the rest of the piece as well. Left hand is written in the treble clef. Very strange sheet music because it starts in the bass clef, but then it instantly goes into the treble clef. They could have just put treble clef right at the beginning. So we're going to start with a rhythm of a quaver, 2 semiquavers in the left hand, followed by 2 quavers in the right hand. So 8th note, 2 16th notes, and then 2 8th notes in the right hand. Clapping this rhythm is crucial to get that right. So we can say ta for the quaver in this case, and titi for the semiquavers. So ta, titi, ta, 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 titi, ta, ta. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and that's going to be the rhythm all the way through. The first half is played by the left hand. We start in this E minor position, so E, G, B, and the right hand starts on C, E, G. And the rhythm goes like this. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. And once you internalize the rhythm, then you can have a look at the articulation. So left hand goes smoothly, right hand staccato, and we've got this double note at the top, a third, which is played by finger number 3 and 5, and that can be a little bit tricky as 5 is the weak finger and it can go down like this sometimes. So be careful that the 2 notes go down perfectly together. Now, if we look at this chord, this is a little bit more advanced, but if we play all the notes together, this is actually a C major 7 chord. So C, E, G, and B, but it's inverted. And every other chord is going to be the same. So the next one is going to be a D minus 7. Then we go back to C major 7. So the distance between the notes is always the same in every bar. We just go 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down, and so on. It's also very easy to memorize where the right hand starts because it's always the note after the left hand. So left hand finishes on B, right hand starts on C. Left hand finishes on A, right hand starts on B. Just little patterns that make sight reading much easier. You don't actually have to read every single note in this piece. You can just have a look at the patterns. When reading the first line, I don't even need to know what the notes are because I can see the pattern is the same. So I can look at the bottom note, it starts on E, then it moves to F, moves to E, D, E, D, C. So that's it. So I basically was just looking at where the left hand bottom note is going, whether it's going up or down, and then keeping the distance between my fingers the same and the rhythm the same. The second line starts with 2 crotchets, which kind of breaks the rhythm, a diminished chord, and then it repeats again, but it's climbing up this time. F, G, A, F, D, C, and left hand finishes on a C. And that's basically the entire piece. So learning the pattern seems very easy because it's the same in every bar, and the distance and the chords are the same. The hand is just moving up and down, so it's just a sequence. Now the difficulty is keeping this very even, because what can happen with this rhythm, it's quite a tricky rhythm to play fast after each other, and what can happen is it sounds like this. So you stop at the end of the bar and you make the semiquavers uneven. So saying ta, ti, ti, or counting is really going to help, and playing it slowly in the beginning. Ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta. And keeping that pulse very, very steady all the way through. So what is this piece trying to teach us? Apart from, that one single pattern we see in bar 1. The key thing it's trying to teach us is that rhythmic pattern. It's also teaching us how to change position very quickly without changing the distance between our fingers. So we're basically staying in this position and moving up and down without changing the distance between the fingers. And it's also trying to teach us how to combine articulation, left hand legato, right hand staccato, and reinforcing this third on the weaker fingers of the right hand, which can be quite tricky. And finally, obviously, it's teaching us how to build character, how to get that wavy staccato motion. Playing it very playfully, one hand giving the melody to the other, and making sense of that melody as it goes up, down. The melody is basically in the left hand bottom note. That's our little melody, which is extended with these broken chords in the right hand. And it's also teaching us how to stay in this major 7 chord position, which is quite a dense chord. If you have any questions about this little piece, leave them in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, subscribe for more.